Hey, what's going on, everyone? Good morning, good Saturday morning. Welcome to another Brap rant. I want to do this quick rant because we did our special Friday edition podcast of Basement Radio Arcade Podcast yesterday evening. And as you guys know, some Halo Infinite news broke. And, so there's some people out there that are a little concerned with regards to this news. So, in case you haven't heard, the creative director for Halo Infinite. Um, Actually, I should give credit here. Um, Jason Schreier of Kotaku broke this story yesterday afternoon, and Tim Longo, who was the creative director for the upcoming Halo Infinite, has left 343 Industries this week. Kotaku has reported this. It's part of a leadership shakeup that arrives late in the development of the Halo Infinite. So, um, yeah, what's up, Luca? I thought you were joining, so I misunderstood what you were saying. Context is important, right? uh, was trying to get Luca in to get her perspective on this. I have to listen to Scumcast later on to hear what you guys think about the creative director of Halo Infinite leaving. But anyhow, I want to talk a little bit more about the story here. Um, Lucas says I might join if I start whiling. It's too funny. All right, so Kotaku did reach out to Microsoft, and Microsoft, in fact, did confirm Longo's departure. And I'm going to read the response from our good old friends over at Microsoft. Roles and responsibilities of various team members regularly evolve to meet the needs of a game. This is true. We've seen this with other games in development. This has happened at Naughty Dog. This has happened at uh, probably BioWare with Anthem, although Anthem was a freaking mess. What's up, Javier McCann? Um, and this has happened with CD Projekt Red, where the creative director left halfway through the development of Cyberpunk 2077. So, not uncommon that this happens in the industry. I don't think anyone is maybe shocked by this per se. Maybe somewhat shocked that a year from release, that the creative director is no longer and has left 343 Industries. I should mention he was also the creative director for Halo 5, which, look, guys, I got to be honest with you. I did not care for the campaign. I thought the campaign was garbage. It was probably the least favorite campaign of mine out of all the Halo games I've ever played. And the multiplayer was actually pretty damn good, though. That's where the game definitely excelled. So, anyhow, um, so back to Microsoft's statement. He said, Microsoft says, we have recently had two changes to the Halo Infinite development team. Our executive producer, Mary Olson, will now take charge of the campaign team on Halo Infinite as the lead producer, utilizing her many years of experience at 343 to help craft a great campaign for friends. And 343, you guys better deliver a great campaign for this Halo game. I know they're calling it like a soft reboot or whatever the case is. I think there's, I don't know, guys. I think, me personally, I think there's a lot of pressure on them to really deliver a strong campaign in multiplayer. I think the pinnacle of Halo for me at least was that with Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, those games had really strong multiplayer and campaign aspects to those games, and that was to me like kind of what really separated, I think, Halo from kind of the rest of the pack. And since then, Halo's in terms of the first person shooter genre, there's been a lot of competition on the console platform with new with the abundance of different shooters out in the marketplace right now. Call of Duty's kind of going back to its roots, if you will, with Modern Warfare. That's coming out October 25th of this year. And Modern Warfare's always had, again, solid campaign, solid multiplayer. So I really hope that they deliver both. I really look. I don't want to see a bad Halo game. I don't wish for Halo to be bad. I don't wish for. What's up, as Sean Rashid says, Enrique's the man. Thank you, sir. I don't want to see a bad Halo, I love the franchise. I don't want to see this game or this campaign disappoint me the way it disappointed Halo 5. Look, if you like Halo 5 campaign, that's great. I'm not going to disparage you on that. I just didn't think that the campaign was really that good. Locke seemed like a cool character, but look, I didn't want to play the majority of the game as Locke. I didn't care about him as a character. I wanted to play as Master Chief. I didn't like the fact that I basically played like 3 map levels as Master Chief. And I didn't like the fact that they really. Uh... oh my God, you all are savage. Gregor Von Doom in the live chat says Luca's up early because she can't reach her alarm clock in the morning. Yo, leave that lady alone, man. That's savage. Sean Rashid says, "What are your thoughts on PS5 being more powerful than a 2070 and being slightly more powerful than Scarlet?" Uh, um, I'll get to that in a sec here, Sean, because I was talking to Mods Gaming about the power of these consoles, and he really had some insightful things to share with me in DM. Um, but back to Microsoft's response to their creative director, the creative director Tim Longo leaving. Um, so now we know that Mary Olson's taken over a charge of the campaign team for Halo Infinite as lead producer. Additionally, Tim Longo has recently departed our team, and we are truly thankful for his many contributions to our games, our studio, and the Halo universe. We wish Tim nothing but the best in his future endeavors. The overall creative vision and production of the game remains led by Chris Lee, studio head of Halo Infinite. So Chris Lee's still there. It's good. We have a world-class team building Halo Infinite, and the overwhelming positive response by the fans has energized more than ever to create the best Halo game to date, alongside Project Scarlet in holiday 2020. These changes have no impact to the release date for Halo Infinite. That's good. I think that's good that they shored up that. Hey, look, we are still going to ship Halo Infinite on the release date. We're not going to delay the game. Although, hey, if they need to delay the game, I'm okay with that. I don't have an issue with. I don't have an issue with companies delaying games. I don't. I think I forget what Miyamoto said about a bad game shipping or a game being delayed. I forget. Anyhow, I'm not opposed to games shipping being delayed to smooth out and iron out some of the wrinkles. I don't like seeing games shipped like a buggy mess, like with Fallout 76, that trash game that was a buggy mess that they charge us $60 for. I don't want to see stuff like that. I don't have tolerance for developers releasing games that are broken. Chief Tommy says, "Who said that?" Chief, I'm. What are you? What are you referring to, bud? Eddie T, what's going on, man? Gregor Von Doom, what's going on, bro? Um, so that's a Microsoft statement. Um, Now again, as I mentioned, this game's envisioned as a spiritual reboot to the Halo series, and so there's definitely a lot of I think riding on this game, especially with it launching alongside Xbox Scarlet. So I'll say this, guys. I don't think. Look, this isn't doom and gloom. Let's put that to rest. I don't think the game is doomed, but I think it's also okay to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I maybe do have some concerns about the creative director leaving, and he was actually. My understanding is that he was actually um, moved into another role internally, and then eventually left a few weeks later. Left 343. So I don't think there's anything wrong to say, hey, you know what? I have some concerns. This is the creative director, same gentleman who worked on Halo 5 as the creative director. He's no longer there. We're a year out from release. Yeah, I would say it's okay to have some concerns. Kind of look at this thing with an eyebrow raised, but and I only say that because I wonder what's going on internally, and my perspective too, with just more reading recently of some of the issues with crunch. If you look back at some of the development challenges that Bioware had, and I'm not suggesting that that's what's going on here at 343. I'm just saying, hey, it's okay to be concerned, about some of the things that are going on here internally. Yes, Lucas says maybe he was unhappy for some reason. Yeah, I mean that could be it. Maybe he was unhappy. Maybe he wasn't happy with the vision of the direction that the campaign was going in. Perhaps there was some internal strife, some butting of the heads, if you will. Um, or maybe Bonnie Ross said, "Hey, you know what? This idea is shit. We need to retool. We need to revamp the campaign." And that's happened in games before, even a year out. I mean, you look at the crunch to get The Last of Us out. We know about that story, and we know about the infamous Bioware crunch with regards to Anthem. So it's not uncommon for these games even a year out to kind of retool. I just hope the retooling works. And I think part of the concern that some fans have is that whether or not you agree with this or not, they are fans out there, and I'm one of those included. Look, I'm going to say this: all praise to Bungie. Bungie is a phenomenal developer. I don't care. You can hate on Destiny. You could say Destiny sucks. I think you're crazy if you think that. But I'll say this: Bungie's done a wonderful job. Not a perfect job. There's been some pitfalls with Destiny, but I think for the kind of game that they've created on the console platform, this MMO like game, Destiny, and the pressures of working under Activision. Now they're free from Activision, which is great for Bungie. Um, Hashtag Luca says Destiny does suck. You don't believe that, Luca. I don't think you really believe Destiny sucks. Ryan Landis says give Master Chief a beard and a son. Hey, but who would the baby's mama be? That's what I want to know, Ryan. Who would Master Chief bun up with to create this baby? It definitely wouldn't be Cortana. I don't think that's physiological. I don't think that's possible. But oh my, yeah, game of the year, man, game of the year. Um, oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I think what Bungie's done is a tremendous job with Destiny. I mean, I don't think that genre, by any stretch of the imagination, is easy to do to keep players engaged, to consistently try to please many of the core group or base that you have to, and um, to make compelling content, to make content with to give people a reason why uh, to give people a reason why they should come back and play Destiny. Hey, Chief, can you hear me okay? I see that you said that you could barely hear me. You want to know why we're talking about Halo again? It's just more of a follow up conversation because I've seen some people on Twitter really, say things like, "Oh, you're a fanboy if you're concerned," and nobody was concerned uh, uh, when CD Project Red's creative director left midway through the development of Cyberpunk 2077. So that's why I'm talking about this. I don't think it's doom and gloom. I had some people DM me say, "Why do you think Halo Infinite's doom and gloom?" And I didn't say that last night. None of the panel members on BRAP said that the game is doom. I don't think we think it's doomed. It just kind of raises a concern for us, and I think there is a group of fans out there of the Halo franchise that think that since 343's taken over the Halo franchise, it hasn't been on par with when Bungie was behind the Halo franchise. And that is my opinion. It's fine if you disagree. I think Bungie has done a better job or did a better job with the Halo franchise than for 343 has. And that's just my opinion. I think that's probably why some people are kind of eyebrowing this a little bit more. And look, I think the optics of it too is, I think there's probably more eyes on this because it is Microsoft, because of the challenges they had this console generation with the lack of quality of some of their exclusive content and the cancellation of content that was supposed to be exclusive to the Xbox One console. So I think that's why people are kind of looking at this maybe a little bit more than they would with another developer per se. But again, I just want to reiterate, I don't think it's doom. I think the game will probably at the end of the day be fine. Many of us will probably forget about this unless the campaign is trash, and then we'll probably come back and say, "Well, hey, something happened here," and we could probably point to, this day, um, the 16th. Well, not the day's not the 16th, but we can go back and point to the 16th of August, 2019, of when we learned of potential issues internally at 343 Industries. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It is definitely going to be interesting. But I do want to go to. I do want to say one thing though. I don't think. Obviously, I think there's some people that are out here fanboying about this or console warring. But I do think that there are people who have legitimate concerns that aren't console warring. They're just fans of the franchise. Gregor Von Doom says, he says it's okay if the story sucks because I heard Xbox is all multiplayer focused. Oh my goodness. Well, according to Forte, um, multiplayer is better, I think, on Xbox or something. If you guys caught that discussion last night, um, I yeah, that was an interesting conversation. Um, Chief Tommy says, I hear you. Okay, I'm in the more middle, could be good or bad. So, Chief, you're saying you're kind of in the middle. Luca, you're in a party chat with Forte? Why? He's on Destiny, that's why. Yeah, you know what, Luca, I'll hop on Destiny here in a minute. I'm about to wrap up this podcast real quick anyway. I just want to do a quick podcast, quick morning rant. I'll probably hop on Destiny here in a sec. Get my grind on. Um, So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting how this thing pans out. Again, I don't think it's doom and this game's doomed. I wouldn't say that. I think there's still some talented folks at 343. So what's up, Talus? Sean mentioned something in the chat earlier about PlayStation 5 leaks, spec leaks in terms of. Let me go back over to. All right. So Sean Rashid said. Earlier in the live chat. So, what are your thoughts on PS5 being more powerful than a 2070 and being slightly more powerful than Scarlet? I gotta say, uh, wow is what I would say. If the performance is on par with a 2070, now, Sean? I don't know if you're still in the live chat. Is it on par with the 2070 or 2070 Super? Because I know the Super just came out last month. And I think the RTX 2080 Super is coming out this month. Um, but yeah, I mean, if it's on par with a 2070, it's pretty damn impressive. Now, I think that probably guarantees that these consoles with a PlayStation 5 will probably launch at about $500. And I got to say, if I've been talking to Mods Gaming, and I don't know if guys, if you're not following Mods Gaming on YouTube, please check him out. He's really passionate about hardware and talking about hardware and performance. Um, I had him on about three weeks ago, and yeah, we're talking about next gen hardware and some of the cool things they're going to do. He's saying there's going to be a lot of new rendering techniques that developers are going to use with these consoles um, that are really going to create some very impressive visuals. He seemed to allude that performance will probably be around a 2060, 2070 GPU. Um, but I got to say, guys, if the rumors are that between Scarlet and PS5, that the power gap is going to be minimal. There may be certain things that one does better than the other, but I think in performance, what I'm hearing is that they're going to be more similar than they are different. You're not going to have kind of what we saw this console generation per se. Um, I'm sorry, Sean's dropping some stuff in our chat. Sean says, so I've heard some very crazy info yesterday from Era, from the lead editor at GameFan. As of now, the conservative estimates are 2070. However, when coded to the metal, they will perform much higher. Talus, it's the latter. It's mods. It's mods gaming, MADZ. So definitely check out mods. I'm sorry, Mads Gaming. um, one PS5 was delayed to 2020. If what I heard yesterday is true, the machine will be 10 to 15% weaker than a 2080. And then Ashan is saying also the difference in power between Scarlet and PS5 is at almost 10%. I mean, yeah, and Sean, you bring up a great point. That can all change, of course. And even 10% is not a significant gap. Like I said, I think these from what I've heard, these consoles are going to be closer in power than not. And you may have one console do one thing better than the other. Um, Yeah, so Sean's saying the difference from what he said is nothing. Yeah, so they're gonna be pretty much on par. And so you know what's interesting? I was not looking to buy a Scarlett. I was looking to build a PC, and I was having this conversation with mods with Mads. I gotta stop calling him mods with Mads Gaming, and he's like, yeah, if these consoles are performing at that level, then you kind of maybe should rethink about spending $1,800 on a gaming PC. Presumably, if these consoles come in at $500 and you're getting close to that high level performance, which is pretty damn impressive. But what I'm interested in, Sean, is how are they going to cool these things? I mean, how are they going to cool these components in these small boxes? Unless these console boxes are going to be bigger than what they are now. Um, but what I was saying with Mads, I was saying, hey, if I'm looking at um, if I'm looking at building a PC and these consoles are, let's say 2070, whatever the case is, being conservative, about the performance, but let's say at a 2070, it maybe doesn't make sense for me to spend $1,700 on um, $1,700 on a PC. Yeah, I could probably just build a lighter PC at about $1,100. Still get some gaming in there as well. Um, so as Sean is saying, PS5 was originally slated for 2019, but changed course after the Scorpio announced in 2020. That's interesting, man. I've never heard that. That's interesting. But I'll say this: everything that I've heard, I mean, from people who every once in a while will drop information, DM, um, have said that these consoles will really do some impressive things. That some of the different things they can do in terms of rendering and some of the tricks they will use, if you will, to make some very impressive graphics are really going to blow some people away next console gen. And so, when I hear people saying this, and Mads Gaming and I have talked about this a lot. He's super excited. I'm at a point now where if this is the case, Sean, if you're saying that these consoles and the PS5, can perform at a level of a 2070, then what, I wasn't planning on getting a Scarlet, but I may get a Scarlet now because it may make sense to instead of building that PC. And Sean says, don't buy a PC right now. The new consoles will destroy what you get within a reasonable price. It's a great point, man. Yeah, and it's also again, this, we know the consoles will have their custom chips, but there's a performance equivalency here. They're not going to have the 2070 GPU in the under the hood, if you will. All right, here's Ryan listens. I could care less about the specs. I just want to see what games are coming. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. But like I said, Ryan, I was actually thinking about building a PC because I can play my Xbox exclusives on PC. Still have access to my friends list on Xbox Live. You know, still take advantage of crossplay stuff like that. Um, but now, if I think about this financially, get more bang for my buck, I may just wait. I might just get the Scarlet instead of building like this $1,800, $2,000 gaming PC. Sean says, Enrique, one last thing on PC developers code more for NVIDIA. When you put 2070 power inside a console, we could see performance that does better than a 2080 Ti. Woo, man, that would be really impressive. Very impressive. Chief Timmy says, I'm going to build a game PC eventually. They're not that much useless. You want top of the line. Ishan says, "Are you?" Yes, Ishan. I'm definitely getting a PlayStation 5. There's no if, ands, or buts about that. I am day one PlayStation 5. But I may be picking up a Scarlet at launch now too, because of these more recent news developments, if you will, with what we're hearing about the potential performance of these games. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'll have a better idea of whether or not I pick up a Scarlet day one, based on what we learned when we actually when Microsoft actually unveils the console, presumably at next E3, and we actually get an idea of what the specs are going to look like. So ultimately, that's going to make my decision. But there's no hesitation with me on the PlayStation 5, and for me, it just really comes down to the games, and I know what to expect, know what Sony's roadmap is, um, with their exclusive content. Sony's still going to get a shit ton of support next console gen from a lot of developers. So I'm really excited to see. We you look at some of the you look at what Sony Santa Monica did with God of War. You look at what Gorilla's done with the Decima engine. You look at what am I forgetting here? Or you look at Naughty Dog and what they've done with The Last of Us 2, and Uncharted 4, Uncharted Lost Legacy. I mean, these games look really damn good, and I can only imagine what the sequels to some of these games are going to look like on a PlayStation 5. It's going to be mind blowing. So I can't wait. I'm excited, guys. I'm super excited for next console generation. Silverblack says, "Why get Scarlet? Seriously, I want to know." I would get Scarlet for the reasons I just said. I mean, if the performance is at if the if there's a performance equivalence of, let's say, 2070, and the Scarlet costs $500, why am I going to spend 1,700, $1,800 on a PC? I'm just not going to do that. It just doesn't make sense for me to do that. Um, what I would end up doing is probably building a lighter gaming PC, but something where I could game at higher frames per second. I don't have to be at 4K native on PC. To me, it'd be like, where can I get the higher frames? Um, Javier Rickens says, I want to see the problem that I have. A PC is amazing and all, but there's definitely a lot more hackers. People cheat. They mod, so you don't get that many problems like that on console. Yeah, you don't, Javier. Although there are some those issues with games that have incorporated crossplay on the Xbox platform. Been a lot of cheaters on Sea of Thieves. It's been an issue. But yeah, I mean, not nearly as much on console as PC. So, all right, guys, we're almost at the 30-minute mark here. I just want to give a big shout out to everyone. Thanks, guys, for coming out and hanging out for this impromptu Brap rant. Um, I wanted to reiterate that Halo is not doomed, because I've got some really interesting DMs last night after the podcast. Some people were upset that we were talking about being concerned and making accusations that we were saying that this game was doomed. No one ever said that, but it's not. It's not doomed. It's an interesting story. I think it's one with that we should kind of keep an eye on, see what if there's any developments that come out of this with Halo Infinite. So, and then look, guys, I'm super excited. I'm glad Ashan brought this up. I'm super excited about next gen consoles. I think if they're saying performance on equivalence of a 2070, that's pretty damn impressive. So, Irrelevant says Enrique hates Halo. No, I do not hate Halo. I don't think Halo's as good as it was, though. under 343 as it was Bungie. Just my opinion. Um, Not that I think Halo's trash. I don't think that. I just don't think it's been as good under 343. So Chief Tommy says, "How dare you speculate my precious 343 Industries?" Hey man, some people were saying that to me, man. DM more or less. It's interesting. It's interesting how people perceive or hear what they want to hear when they hear you, voicing concern over something. It's like they automatically think that you hate Xbox or something. Which is funny because I've actually had people DM me saying that they are not going to listen to Brap anymore because we bash Xbox. So I think there's a difference between bashing and providing constructive criticism. So, real quick, guys, big shout out to Nintendo. Wow, Nintendo is what a great comeback story. If you haven't looked at the MPD numbers, Nintendo first party has 3 of the top 5 games for the month of July, and 6 out of the top 10 games for the month of July that are exclusive to Nintendo that are first party games. Um, Fire Emblem topped the charts for July. Fire Emblem is a great game. I'm playing it right now. You know what, Luca? I might have to go. I'm a Halo phobe. Oh, Ryan, dude, you're funny. Luke, I actually might go play some excuse me, some Fire Emblem Three Houses. I might go do that instead of playing Destiny. Um, but yeah, big shout out to Nintendo. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, look, Nintendo has great comeback story. I think they put out a console that people want. I think one of the biggest things that they have this generation that didn't have um, that they didn't have last console generation. One, the marketing was terrible for the Wii U, but two, they have a lot of third party, second party support with the Nintendo Switch. I mean, the amount of games that device gets a month is just ridiculous. It's a lot. I mean, in going through their online store can be a little overwhelming at times. They need to figure out a better way to kind of curate their online store. But yeah, I mean, just a great success story. I'm really happy for Nintendo. I think it's great for the industry when all the consoles do well. Um, Strat 4K says, "Yo, Enrique, which podcast did Forte say Sony was going to hit them with a $2,000 fine, $20,000 fine?" That was I don't remember. That was the one we were talking about. Yo, Gregor is crazy. He said if Lucas stands on a switch, she'd be 410. That's a home. Leave that poor girl alone, man. Um, let's see here. I think that was Strap. I think that was the podcast when Forte we're talking about Sony's marketing deal with Destiny. Um, and by the way, it sounds like Microsoft has a marketing deal with Destiny now with the upcoming DLC. So that's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be something that's going to be announced at Gamescom. Um, Gregor's crazy. Uh, yeah, I don't remember which podcast it was. I'd have to go back and look, but I know what you're talking about. I think they threatened to, I think, fine his store or something. I forget what it was. So, all right, guys. Chief told me says Nintendo got so much money that they be making it rain on consumers that may have had buyer's remorse with the older model. Great PR. Yeah, that's great that they're actually letting people upgrade their Switches. I mean, that's insane. That is all, but that's awesome. I'm glad they're doing that. Um, which, by the way, I think that I'll probably be getting another Switch. So, anyhow, all right, guys. I'm gonna go get some video gaming in because probably got about an hour or so to do that. Um, but yeah, guys, thank you guys everyone for coming by and hanging out with me this morning. Really appreciate it. And I'll probably have some kind of I was gonna do a Brap rant on Monday after the Gamescom stuff, but I have to go to a funeral Monday or Tuesday of next week. So anyhow, But on that note, guys, I'm out. Please, everyone, enjoy the rest of the day. Have fun gaming or doing whatever you do on a Saturday. And we'll catch you guys next time. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so. Don't forget to check out Scumcast today at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Luca will be live with her great panel. They'll be discussing Halo Infinite and some other game-related topics. So definitely want to check that out. And check out the Iron Lords tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They go live as well. By the way, if you're a big Destiny fan, if you haven't checked out Lord Cognito and I forget, who else? Lord Cognito and I forget the other gentleman. They run a Destiny centric podcast called The Last Word, which is an awesome name for a Destiny podcast, by the way. But believe it or not, they had Paul Tassi on from Forbes magazine this week on their podcast. And if you don't know who Paul Tassi is, he's a huge Destiny fan. I think Lord Cognito actually met him in person at Guardian Con. So, yeah, they had him on. Great podcast. They talked, again, it's all Destiny related chat. But definitely, if you haven't checked out the Last Word podcast and you're a Destiny fan, definitely check it out. Definitely check out the episode that they just had this week with Paul Tassi. It's a great show. Really enjoyed it. So, on that note, guys, I'm out. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.